The liquor industry is very much part of the township businesses, with shebeens operating in almost every street. It is an industry with a political history and has a social and health impact, and it is for this reason that it is a highly regulated business, even though the operators in many instances violate the same regulations, such as not selling alcohol after hours, near schools, operating near churches, and even selling to underage children. We are joined by the director of the Gauteng Liquor Board, Metlhio Budibe-Lushaba, to tell us about the board's mandate and the issues that they have to grapple with. Metlhio, pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
And lest I be called to order for creating an impression that alcohol is sold only in townships. That is not true, right?
Absolutely.
We know it's sold all over the place. I just wanted to make the point of the shebeens though. But otherwise, we know that liquor outlets, and including shebeens for that matter, operate in the suburbs these days. How many outlets do we have in Gauteng?
Okay, Gauteng has 15,000 licensed outlets. Of course, the number fluctuates from time to time. There's a number of outlets that we shut down. Sometimes it's people that are just deciding they have different business interests. And of course, there's a few licenses that get approved almost on a daily basis. Hence, I'm saying it's 15,000, but it's around that figure. And we're talking the
those would
ones.
be the legal ones, which
Absolutely.
are licensed. But you know, if you were to investigate further, the number probably would double or something like that.
Exactly, as you put it, double.
Yeah.
There is a number of illegal outlets, and we know this because the Gauteng Liquor Board is currently undergoing the verification process, literally going out there, identifying the liquor traders, and out of that, eliciting to what extent all of them are legal. And we're finding that some of them are not, in fact, most of them are not legal. So as you say, it's double. The study has not been concluded as yet. We are going to be doing a second rollout. So by the end of March 2017, we would know for sure in terms of how many exactly are legal and how many of those are not legal.
Basically, what is a liquor license? What are the key elements of a liquor license?
Yeah. We usually refer to these as the on-consumption and off-consumption, just to put it simply. And the guidelines would be that if it's on-consumption, that's where you walk in and you would be consuming alcohol from the premises. It goes without saying that as you sit it, being served alcohol, the bottle or the can should actually be opened, which means whether you've had one sip or 10, you cannot walk out with it. And those kind of outlets are actually obligated. It's obligatory for them to have bathrooms because obviously alcohol is liquid, and the more you consume alcohol, it goes without saying that you'll need a bathroom. On the other hand, we have the off-consumption. These would be what you'd call bottle stores. We call them liquor stores. You'd find the requirements for them would be different. We wouldn't require a bottle store to have bathrooms and those kind of things because the whole idea is to buy and consume at home. So yeah, basically those are the two different types of outlets.
Now, I remember that I'm not sure if the bootleggers still operate. Is there a license for a bootlegger or not necessarily? Or would they be regarded as off-premises outlet?
Tell me more what you have in mind about bootleggers. So
bootleggers would be somebody who stocks up on large number of cases of beer and sells to shebeens and so on in a particular locality.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying let's define it so that we're talking about the same thing. We have what we call distributors.
Okay.
Those would be people that are licensed through the DTI, which is not necessarily the Gauteng Liquor Board, but they are licensed as distributors. Even then, the trading hours and the amount of alcohol that they need to be distributing at a time would be regulated. I'm still not quite clear in terms of what the nitty-gritties are, but yes, they do exist, but we call them distributors.
Okay, and these would be selling to the liquor establishments, liquor operators, and not directly to the consumers.
Absolutely, and that's the difference. They would be selling to a licensed liquor outlet.
Supposedly licensed.
Supposedly, not necessarily an individual. Hence, you'd find with them the requirements would be enough storage, those kind of things because of the nature of their business.
Okay. Now, let's go to the issues. Or before we talk about the issues, just define the mandate of the Liquor Board for me.
The Gauteng Liquor Board's one main mandate is to regulate the liquor trade and sale industry. So literally what we do is to make use of the Gauteng Liquor Act 2003 to regulate the liquor trade industry. In a nutshell, that's what it is.
Yes.
However, if you go through the act, you'll realize that there is a whole lot of other things that come with that. Earlier on, you already touched on the fact that there is a number of negative effects that Gauteng, in fact, even other provinces, but I speak for Gauteng, that are experiencing as a result of excessive alcohol consumption and abuse, etc. So one of the responsibilities for the Gauteng Liquor Board is to undertake the liquor education and awareness, but not only that, to also attend to the social responsibility activities that would be in line with the consumption of alcohol. Just to give an example, if you take, for instance, the rehab centers, that speaks directly to what alcohol's negative effects would have done. So that's where we come in and address those. And, you know, the nature of activities that we do would differ depending on what the need is based on whatever situation we find in a particular area.
The Liquor Board, does it concern itself with the health impact, the negative impacts of alcohol consumption on the consumers?
Yeah, absolutely, we do, and we take that very seriously. In fact, let me share with you and tell you that in the Gauteng province, between 2014 and 15, 60 billion rand, both spent by private sector and government, was spent in Gauteng alone on redressing the negative effects of alcohol.
How much?
20 billion rand.
20 billion,
Yeah.
all right. Oh, well, I thought, okay, it's 20 billion to redress the
To
consumption.
redress the negative
in what,
effects.
in 2-3 years?
In just one financial year, 2014 to 2015. So to be exact, from 1st April 2014
Yes.
to 31st March 2015.
And how much do we spend on alcohol then per year? If 20 billion is spent on redressing the effects of alcohol, I'm sure it's a lot of money then.
It is, and of course, with, you know, the manufacturers and the retailers would actually give us an accurate figure. But yeah, it is a lot. That much I can say.
Yeah.
And but the point I was really trying to get to is that is why we want to ensure that we redress the negative effects. You can imagine how much productivity any company would suffer from on a Monday or on a Friday, because literally, and I'm going to speak generally at the moment, you'd find most people on Mondays are not at work simply because of having excessively consumed alcohol the night before. On a Friday, you know, the culture, and again, I'm speaking generally speaking, on a Friday, it's a half-day situation. People work for half day, so the productivity within the company is very low. Not only that, you look at the implication in terms of families, you look at the school education and other social ills that we experience in the community. So when we talk the negative effects of alcohol, it goes beyond. Just to give you another example, if you were to visit any main hospital and just go to the wards where it is specifically for people that have been excessively consuming alcohol, diseases like kidney failure, you know, organ, you know, failure, etc. Most of them, not all, most of them are as a result of excessively consuming alcohol.
But here's the point then. People will turn around from other parts of the country and say, but in Gauteng, you operate liquor outlets, bottle stores, liquor stores are open on Sunday anyway.
Yeah.
So then the culture of heavy consumption of alcohol is supported, abetted by the government itself.
Yeah, and that's another way of looking at it. If you remember between 2014 and 15, once again, I'm sure you remember from media and a whole lot of other public participations that we've had, there was a proposal that there shouldn't be any sale of alcohol on a Sunday. And that's where our liquor traders said, hang on, Sundays in particular are the days, are peak days. That's where we make most of the profits, because Monday to Friday, consumers are at work. Saturday, there's other things. So Sunday is one of those main days. As a result, we've had to then, withdraw that. But yeah, you and I literally would have to think about it and say, what is the best thing in the situation?
Well, I was just saying that it will be people from other provinces who complain, but I suppose consumers, they're quite happy. They say, well, that's how it should be. This is Gauteng after all.
Yeah, And if we think about it, particularly in Gauteng, much as it's the smallest province, it's also the hub, the economic hub.
Yes.
So there is a number of other business and economic activities that are taking place. And the culture is such that as you're having a meal, there will be a glass of wine accompanied by that. And of course, some people would be, consuming a little bit more than others. So there is that fine line between
I want to
those.
talk about the social problems that go with the alcohol outlets or liquor outlets, particularly the shebeens now, how they impact the immediate neighborhoods, right? Are they licensed to operate 24 hours a day?
Let me take this opportunity to firstly explain where and how the shipping permits came about. Coming from 1994, the country was going through a transformation phase, and some people would be aware that black people were not allowed to sell alcohol at some point. And as part of the transformation initiatives, a political decision was taken that everyone that is selling alcohol in the townships, upon declaration, literally they would be given a permit. That's where the shipping permits come from. The rationale behind it was to redress the economic imbalances.
Yes.
Hence, back then, the conditions would be such that you cannot sell beyond 10 in the evening, simply because it was within a residential area. And chances are, of course, it would be within 500 meters of a school, place of worship, and things like those. They wouldn't be selling spirits and, some of the other things. And unfortunately, within a year or two, the liquor traders started, taking the department to court and saying, well, we want to be able to operate just like an outlet in the suburbs. As a result, a court order was given that they should actually be selling under the same conditions as the liquor outlets that are in the suburbs. And that's where the problem was, because they never applied, which means the proper pre-inspections that would under normal circumstances be undertaken were not undertaken, and those
but the one that I want to go to and probe for a short time is that of the amount of noise at night. Because most of the shebeens operate in residential areas and built-up areas. They've got immediate neighbors and so forth. But they play music the whole night.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. That's
top
one
volume.
The highest volume ever. One of the things that we've done, in fact, recently, within a weekend, we've shut down over 20 outlets precisely because of that. And it's sad to have to admit that it isn't even the noise only, but you'll find the littering around the outlets, etc., etc. And half the time, what we find is that the liquor outlets that do this, and this has been proven by the inspectors' reports as they go out there, those would be the illegal traders. And we only get to find out when we start investigating. And unfortunately, the illegal traders are not au fait with the do's and the don'ts of the game. They are not aware of the trading hours. They are not aware of the specific conditions that come with each and every outlet. Just to give you another absurd example, is that you'd find a bottle store. As a result, because it is the festive season, they suddenly put out the garden chairs outside and people start consuming out there. But obviously, because the nature does not require bathrooms, where do you think that people are going to
around the same place?
Exactly. And these are the challenges that we're experiencing, but there is vigorous education that is going on a regular basis. And we've shifted our focus not only to the licensed liquor traders, but to also the unlicensed ones. And of course, we want them to first apply and be legal. But at the end of the day, some of them that exist already, we are educating them in terms of being aware of this. But most importantly, as a serious measure, we are shutting them down, sad to admit.
Well, this is a start. I'm sure our viewers who operate or have got an interest in this subject will engage us on it, and we'll invite you back to respond to some of their queries. And we appreciate that you came to spend time with us.
We'd love that.
Much
Thank
appreciated.
you.
So there you are. If you have questions about how liquor licenses are issued, or you've got issue with certain parts of the work done by the Liquor Board in Gauteng, write to us. The address is tonightwithtimmodise@gmail.com. Tonightwithtimmodise@gmail.com. Would like to hear from you, and then we'll take up these questions with the Gauteng Liquor Board.